Thanks for joining me today. Shortly before the election we just had, I met a hearing-impaired young man. He stopped me and asked to write me a note in my notebook. And he asked, "Are you going to win?" And I answered, as I often do, "If we work hard, we can win." He wrote me back, "You have to win," and then proceeded to write out in detail the reasons why it was so important to him. Well, we didn't win, and disappointment doesn't begin to describe how that feels. Disappointment for people who needed change, such as that young man. Disappointment for what this may mean for our province. Disappointment for so many who put their heart and their soul into our campaign. Since May 14th, I've taken some time to reflect and to consult with my colleagues. I've spoken to most of our candidates and to many others. Here are my thoughts. As leader of the BC NDP, I take full responsibility for this defeat. Clearly, our campaign was not good enough. We did not do a good job prosecuting the case against the government based on their record. And we did not make a clear enough case to British Columbians about what the consequences would be of re-electing the Liberals. I don't believe last week's results are at the end of positive politics in BC. The answer to the Liberals' populist right-wing playbook is not to simply adopt it, but voters expect opposition leaders in particular to hold sitting premiers accountable for their records. You have to define the problem before you can persuade people of the solution. I should have done a much better job of this than I did during the campaign. Secondly, we did not communicate our platform effectively enough to voters. Our party offered a substantive, fully costed platform that offered real solutions to real problems faced by British Columbians. I called this the hard road to victory, and I still believe politicians owe it to voters to tell them honestly what they propose to do if elected. We committed to a modest and focused agenda, but we put out detailed proposals in considerable volume and length in a way that didn't resonate with enough voters. We therefore failed to demonstrate a clear choice between our vision for the economy, the environment, and a more caring society, and Premier Clark, her record, her plan, and her team. Finally, my announcement about our position on the Kinder Morgan pipeline on Earth Day hurt our campaign. The way I raised it raised a number of process issues that stuck with us. I hold to the policy I set out with respect to this pipeline, but plainly, I didn't handle the issue very well. On all these points and others, I take full responsibility. No ifs, ands, or buts. So what do we do now? First, we will undertake a comprehensive review of this election to learn and act on the painful lessons it has taught us. I can assure you this review will spare nothing and no one, least of all me. This will not be a simple internal review. It must give voice to party members and listen to those from outside our ranks. It must address the strategy and tactics we employed in the election, and it must examine the fundamental questions of who we are as a party and our relationship with the people of BC. We therefore need to take an unflinching look at our strengths and weaknesses and what we need to do to improve. Successful political parties constantly evolve to meet the challenges they face, and that's what we must do. Second, we will prepare for the upcoming legislative session, and we will do the job we were elected to do, to high levels of job creation and to protecting services, in particular healthcare and education, and supports for seniors and children. That's the contract they signed with British Columbians on election day, and that's the contract they must honor. We will hold them to it with passion. British Columbians will hold them to it. I will stay on as leader to ensure that our obligation to our members and the public are met over the next few months. that our review of what went wrong in the election ensures that lessons are learned, that the official opposition does the job that hundreds of thousands of British Columbians elected us to do, and that we are organized to hold the government to account. There are some important meetings ahead for our party: caucus meetings, a provincial council meeting, and a party convention in November that must craft the blueprint for renewal. As for the long term, the caucus, the party executive, and members of the NDP must start immediately to map out how we win the next election. I will do whatever is required to see that this happens. I will be guided by the discussion and direction given. I'll put the public interest and the long-term success of the BC NDP ahead of any personal ambitions. For now, together, we must fight for shared prosperity, to reduce inequality, for jobs and a safe environment. Working closely and in concert with our entire team, I will do just that. I will do what is right for that young, hearing-impaired young man and the thousands like him who are counting on us. Lastly, I want to say a few words of thanks to the candidates who put their heart and soul into the election campaign, to all the party members and volunteers who worked so hard and gave up so much on the campaign, whether for an individual candidate or for the campaign as a whole, and to every one of the hundreds of thousands of British Columbians who voted for us. We will carry on. We will learn and get better, and we will succeed next time. Thank you.